There are few components of comprehensive care of thalassemia, and this requires a team management. So, team of thalassemia is consists of a pediatric hematologist, a endocrinologist, a physician or pediatrician, a psychologist. You require some of the social worker to look after these patients because these are the kids who are presenting with the comprehensive care. Have the following components. The very first, you have to establish the diagnosis of thalassemia in very certainty. You require to be correcting this anemia. So you are going to require blood transfusion. If you are repeatedly transfusing the blood, you are going to you are bound to develop this iron deficiency. So you may require chelation therapy. And in this process, these patients may have developed some of the complications like infection, some cardiac and endocrinal manifestation need to be treated. There is there we can do is switching. More and more synthesis of fetal hemoglobin can be induced by use of some of the drugs we discussed in the sickle cell anemia. To name two of common drugs, first is hydroxyurea and 5-HSITP. So these two can be used to induce the synthesis of fetal hemoglobin. Apart from that, these patient blood transfusion requirement is keep increasing, so we can splenectomize these patients. Apart from that, these require a lot of supportive care, and this bone marrow transplantation is something curative in these cases. So, hematopoietic stem cell transplantation is a viable option and it should be tried, but the cost is something inhibitory because most of the patient belongs to low socioeconomic status. This hematopoietic stem cell transplantation usually costs 8 to 10 lakh rupees. So, it is it is a component of comprehensive care, but the economic reach is very limited. Apart from that, the gene therapy is something we are exploring, and in very near future, we can have the gene therapy for this thalassemia also. So, let us discuss some of the important components of therapy. The most prominent is blood transfusion, that is transfusion of PRBC. So, we are going to discuss the 4 5 headings. First, what is the goal of this transfusion therapy? So, we are going to treat anemia. Apart from that, we are going to improve oxygenation. So, endogenous hematopoiesis is going to be suppressed. So, if you look at the pathophysiology, most of the features, most of the dreadful complications are due to the bone marrow expansion, be it medullary or be it extramedullary. Extramedullary leading to the organomegaly and medullary reaching to the pathological fracture and chief punctuation wear and interference and infection. So, it can be prevented by the blood transfusion. So, these are two goals of therapy. We'll keep in the mind. There are some protocol developed for the transfusion in these cases. There are four main protocols are there. First is palliative, where we are going to transfuse hemoglobin at this transfuse PRBC at pre-treatment hemoglobin of 7, and you will target the mean hemoglobin value of 8.5. Okay. In hypertransfusion, we are going to transfuse even at very mild anemia. So the pre-transfusion hemoglobin is 10, and we are going to target a mean hemoglobin of more than 12 gram per cent. In the super transfusion, we are going to transfuse these patients at hemoglobin of 12, and we are planning to have the mean hemoglobin of normal, that is more than 14. But most of the time something moderate is better. So moderate transfusion protocol is something where we are going to transfuse these patients with a saline was PRBC at pre-treatment hemoglobin of 9 to 10.5 gram percent, and we are going to target this hemoglobin at 12.5 gram per deciliter. Okay, so when we start this blood transfusion, it depends upon the age of patient. If patient is diagnosed at age less than 18 months, it should be started as soon as she or he is diagnosed with this thalassemia. If he is having age more than 18 months, most of the time there is possibility of thalassemia minor or thalassemia at present, because major is something present very early in the life. So this minor and intermediate forms should be excluded, and these patients may require transfusion if hemoglobin fall below 7 gram percent, or patient may develop signs and symptoms of severe anemia. So in early life, why it is advisable to start this transfusion as soon as diagnosis is made, because most of the time it is major. So patient is 100% require blood transfusion, and he may require a very massive transfusion. And if age is more than 1.5 years, then he is usually having minor form, so he may not require blood transfusion or required occasional blood transfusion, and transfusion is reserved in hemoglobin less than 7 gram. Okay, so what is the this PRBC requirements and the frequency in these patients? So usually they require 10 to 15 ml per kg of red blood. These red blood cells are saline washed to, because we are going to require repeated transfusion. So we do not want to allow immunize this patient. So leuko-reduced RBCs, PRBCs are transfused in this patient, and they require 10 to 15 ml per kg of red blood cell every 3 to 4 weeks. So if you look at the yearly requirement, then usually patients who are splenectomized and who are not splenectomized. So if there is no spleen, means no destruction. So these patients are going to require lesser hemoglobin to this RBC transfusion. But if there is a spleen without hypersplenism, they are having approximately 30% more requirement than the patient who are not having spleen, who are splenectomized. So in splenectomized patient, they require around 130 ml per kg per year of red blood cell, while in the non-splenectomized, it is usually more than 30% of this, that is around 180 ml per kg per hour. Okay. The rate of this transfusion, blood transfusion of 10 to 15 ml per kg per setting can be of 5 ml per, approximately 5 ml per kg per hour. If there is cardiac features of CHF, then we can reduce the rate of transfusion. Okay, so you are transfusing these patients, so these patients are at higher risk of some of the complication of transfusion. So to name some of the this complication of transfusion: non-hemolytic febrile reactions, hemolysis, there is risk of allergies, there is risk of transfusion related lung injury, there is risk of volume overload, there are some blood transfusion related infections, and apart from that, most important in these patients, because these are going to require large amount of PRBC transfusion, is iron.
उनका सबके कैंपस अलग हुए में अंदर में कितने में जाते.
Let us discuss about the iron overload. So, what is the cause of iron overload in thalassemia patients? These patients are receiving repeated blood transfusion. There is hemolysis. There is ineffective erythropoiesis. This ineffective erythropoiesis is going to release some of the iron. Apart from that, there is increase in the mass of erythron, that is erythropoietic stem cell, and this will lead to the suppression of something is known as okay, tell me, look, how many of you remember what is the hormone responsible for decreased absorption of iron in gut? So tell me about the name of that hormone. What it is known as? Okay. So there is more and more dietary absorption of iron. This will lead to the iron overload. If there is iron overload, we are going to treat. So there is role of chelation therapy. So what is goal? The goal of chelation therapy is reduce iron store, and iron store we can assess by two methods. If you are not aware, you are not remembering the methods, you can assess the iron Then go back to the iron deficiency lecture. We'll see this investigation part. Will find this. So there are two methods. You can be having this bone marrow stains, and you can do this serum ferritin. If serum ferritin is more than 1000, there is indication of chelation therapy. Then what will be the goal? To reduce the serum ferritin less than 1000 nanogram per ml. Okay. This chelation therapy should be started when patient is having serum ferritin of more than 1000 nanogram per liter. If he requires more than 15 to 20 transfusions per year, or if there is hepatic, this liver biopsy is there, and there is more than 3.2 milligram of iron per gram of dry weight of liver, then we can start chelation therapy. There are two agents, one is parenteral and one is oral, can be used to initiate this chelation therapy. Deferoxamine can be given subcutaneous or intravenous with the doses of 25 milligram of per kg per day. And second agent is deferocerox. It is orally available and dose is usually required 20 to 30 milligram of per kg per day. So these patients are, this chelation therapy is very important in thalassemia patients because this iron overload is mostly responsible for most of the complication of this thalassemia. Okay, let us talk something about splenectomy. Okay, then what will be the indication of splenectomy in this thalassemic patient? These are usually required some of the basal in major form. They require around 150 to 180 ml red cells per kg. So if this basal requirement is raised by 1.5 times, means 50% of the basal, then it will be indication of splenectomy. Apart from that, if there is features of hypersplenism, means patient is having thrombocytopenia or leukopenia, then it will be one of the indication of splenectomy. Okay. In splenectomy, one thing you should remember, these splenectomy of thalassemia patients should be avoided till age of 5. And before splenectomy, these patients need to be vaccinated against pneumococcus, meningococcus, and Haemophilus influenzae B, because splenectomy is going to increase the risk of infection. So these patients require the infection prevention, and the infection prevention can be done by the vaccination or it can by the antibiotic prophylaxis. Okay. The next option we have in these patients is hematopoietic stem cell transplantation. So this is the only curative option available for these patients, and this should be encouraged. The disadvantage of this hematopoietic stem cell transplantation is economic reach of hematopoietic stem cell transplantation in these patients. So I think we are done with the topic.